Hello, my name is Ryan, and this video is the dissection of a sheep brain for Anatomy and Physiology 1 for NDSCS. Here we have a sheep brain, and although not shown, it would be covered by three mangy layers. Going from anterior to deep, you would have the dura mater, the arachnoid mater, and the pia mater. As you can see, the brain is made up of three main structures. Here you have the cerebrum. Back here, you have the cerebellum. And then underneath, you would have the brainstem, and we'll get to those later. As you can see, the cerebrum is divided along this line here. It is known as the medial longitudinal fissure. You can also see grooves and folds. The grooves here are known as the silici, and then these folds or flaps are known as the gyri. The brain, like the cerebrum that is made up of four lobes. You have the frontal, and then behind that, or posterior, you have the parietal. You have the left and right temporal lobes, and as well as the occipital lobe here in the back. The frontal lobe is mainly used for higher cognitive functions, like decision-making and problem-solving. It is home of the primary cortex that coordinates voluntary movement. You will also find Broca's area here, which helps with language production. And the parietal lobe, as I discussed earlier, is behind the frontal. It processes sensory information and helps with awareness and coordination. The primary somatic sensory cortex is here, which maps sensory input from the body. On the left and right sides, like I said, we have the temporal lobes. The temporal lobes are for audio processing, and you can also find short and long-term memories, or the ability to create memories here. And then on the left temporal lobe, you would actually find Wernicke's area, which helps with understanding language. And then the occipital lobe back here is primarily used for processing vision. And as you can see back here, we have the cerebellum. It's kind of hard to see, but it is divided by a midsection called the vermis. And then the cerebellum is used for balance and muscle coordination. On the inferior part of the brain here, you're going to find the olfactory bulb, which is located right here and here. And then back here, at this X-shaped structure, you have the optic chiasma. So let's talk about the brainstem for a second. Like I mentioned earlier, here you're going to find this entire region will be the brainstem. Down here, of course, you have the spinal cord. As you move up, you have the medulla. The medulla helps heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing. And this little bump right here, you see, that is the pons. It transmits sensory and motor signals, and it helps in REM sleep and plays a role in regulating breathing. Up here we have the midbrain, which coordinates vision, hearing, and motor control. It's kind of hard to see here, but right here you're going to have the corpus callosum. They connect the left and right hemispheres respectively. Underneath it, you're going to see a ventricle. There's two lateral ventricles, so you have 1 and 2. You have ventricle 3, and you have ventricle 4. In these ventricles, this is where you find the cerebrospinal fluid. And right here, you can see the choroid plexus, and that is where the spinal fluid is actually created, and it moves through the ventricles. Now I want to talk about the diencephalon. Of course, here we have the thalamus and the hypothalamus. The thalamus is the relay station for sensory information, and the hypothalamus helps regulate vital functions, and it plays a big part in homeostasis. You also find the pineal body, which is located right about here. Kind of hard to see. A little hard to tell here, but as you can see in this cross-section of the cerebellum, you're going to see a tree-like structure, and that is known as the arbor vitae. And in this cross-section of the cerebellum here, you're going to notice the white and gray matter. The gray matter is where you're going to find cell bodies, dendrites, and unmyelinated axons, where in the white matter here, you're going to find myelinated axons.